Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Caden. I'll be your host today. Summer is officially over and you know what that means. Fall is officially among us. No, I know I know it technically doesn't start until like mid-September, but it's fall. It's fall. This is my official summer reading wrap-up. This was filmed and edited and supposed to be posted a month ago, and I finished everything. I just never uploaded it. So yeah, this video is a month late, which is great. In this video, I will be going over the 11 books that I read in the months of June, July, and August. Yeah, I read 11 books total because I turned out to be a lot busier this summer than I thought I would be. I had a lot less time for reading because I was busy pretty much every single day doing stuff with friends, going to concerts, a musical or two. No, yeah, I went to concerts, a musical, I was out, I was traveling, I was doing hikes, I was doing a lot. So yeah. If you are not familiar with how we do wrap-ups here, I do least to highest rating. That is because I want to get through the bad and to the good by the end of the video, so we end on a high note. Enjoy the video. Let's get into all the books I read this summer. Starting up, we have two 3-star books. Now, the first 3-star book I had was Paradise Rot by Jenny Vall. And I actually do have a reading vlog of me reading this book. I'm not totally familiar. I don't fully remember how well I talked about this book in it. In hindsight, June feels like it was forever ago, but yeah. Anyway, this is a little, like, horror literature novella about this girl who is a foreign exchange student, and she rooms with a girl who she soon becomes kind of obsessed over, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna be so for real, like, this book just fell very mediocre for me. All the symbolism and stuff kind of went over my head. The writing style was amazing, but like, I just wasn't super into it. I don't know, I couldn't really get into the story. I did notice that there was a weird thing with urine and like urination, which I often hear talked about in regards to this book, and it wasn't a super like ew thing. Well, to some readers it might be, but like, it was just a little like quirk of our main character to be like, and I'm gonna describe how this girl is peeing. All of a sudden it's like, right, why? I don't know, this just felt like weird, but not in like the good way, like at least not the way that I would want to read. I just didn't really fuck with it, unfortunately. So yeah, not my favorite, but like, I don't know, I feel like if this was a movie, I would watch it and be really into it, you know? Then we have our next 3-star book, which is Alice Isn't Dead by Joseph Fink. I've had this on my shelves since freshman year, and I don't think I'm gonna keep this copy, unfortunately. I did not love this book. This book is about a woman named Keisha, whose wife goes missing, and then she starts like popping up in the back of like news stories about tragedies, and like there's this big thing unfurling as Keisha tries to find her wife Alice. This was in a vlog, though I don't think that vlog was actually ever finished. Yeah, no, it was not. But yeah, this was in what was going to be my part 2 of Queer Horror Books reading vlog. And I just didn't fuck with this that much either. I think it wrapped itself up quite well after part 1. I don't know, I just like, kind of tuned out after part one because I couldn't really care too much about what was going on. It was honestly very forgettable. And also I do believe that this whole book does have its own podcast, which just, it feels like, I know this author has, what's the other book? Welcome to Night Vale, and like one other book, that's like all that also all have podcasts. It's just weird. I don't love the energy of that, and also the story. I just like didn't, it felt like a Reddit no sleep story, but like when it gets turned into a book and then it's like we went off the rails. It just felt I don't know. I think like if you were into, I'm trying to think of that one podcast that's like stories. I'll put the name up here in editing if I remember or if I can find it. But like it reminds me of this. And I think if you liked that, you would probably like this, but it just really was not for me. So next we have one 3.5 star, and that is Dogs of Summer by Andrea Abro. This I read for like my Weird Girl Summer reading vlog that also did not come to fruition. She has unfortunately died in editing. Not even in editing, in like filming. I just like, I like went to Florida before I could finish the vlog, and then I was going to continue after, but it was just kind of like, I was really not in like a headspace to want to record or do anything after Florida, so it was just kind of like, eh. So yeah. But anyway, this is a Weird Girl book about these two 10-year-old girls who are like kind of in like an obsessive like frenemy ship sort of situation, and it's kind of just about how these girls discover girlhood and enter like the kind of turbulency that comes with that the turbulence that comes with that. I give this 3.5 because it was very Weird Girl, and like it's just these girls being like silly and goofy and crazy for like 100 and some pages. It was very fun. It was very funny. It just kind of brought me back to like when I was not their age, but when I was like around like 12 to like 14 in COVID and just being a little freaky weirdo. I like, this is kind of what it brought me back to, and I fucked with it. And also just the energy of this was really good. I was just like hanging out, having a good time. I don't think this is really a book that's gonna like stick with me, especially like for a Weird Girl book. Like I don't think it's gonna really stick with me, but it was really good and I really fucked with it, and I would definitely recommend if you're into like Weird Girl books and stuff. My bad, I actually lied. I have two 3.5 star books. The other one was My Husband by Maud Ventura. This is like a literary sort of like almost thriller-esque book about this girl who is obsessed with her husband. By obsessed, I mean like obsessed. Like she is devoted to this man, loves this man, is, once again, like obsessed is the best word. And I was also reading this for my Weird Girl book vlog, but basically, yeah, she's just like obsessed with her husband and like is kind of like, oh, losing her mind at him, and it's like it's just kind of that. I gave this book a 3.5 because like, listen, it was really good. It was kind of funny because like at one point she gets mad at this guy for calling him or for him calling her like, or comparing her to a clementine. Not comparing her, saying that she like gives off the energy of a clementine. And here's the thing is, she's rational for it, and honestly I was on her side. Why the fuck did he say that she would be a clementine? No, the fuck she would not. But Yeah, like, it's shit like that where it's like she's very, like, obsessed with her husband, but she's also, like, quick to, like, what the fuck does this mean? I'm gonna suffocate him in his sleep. And it's like, you know what? And I'd turn the other way, girly, because, yeah. Um, and then the ending of this book happened, and it was, like, on its way to a 4-star for me. And then the ending happened, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, this is very, like, book talk, like, you'll never see this twist coming, and it's like, yeah, I didn't see it coming because what the fuck? Like, it's a really stupid twist at the end that I feel like doesn't do anything for the story. And it feels like The Coworker by Frida McFadden type shit, where it's like, okay, but what? What? That doesn't even, what are we doing, you know? And it did kind of fuck up the book a little bit for me, but outside of that, had we cut that ending, I would have really fucked with it. I loved it for the most part. Because once again, it's like this bitch being crazy for and about her husband. And I love that because it's like a funny crazy where it's like, oh, you're insane, but I'm gonna side with you because it's just like you're so insane I have to, you know? But yeah, would definitely like highly recommend. And our last 3.5 book for the summer was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Now, this is my first Tessa Bailey. I haven't heard that many amazing things about her. However, I actually may want to get into her after this. I have had this book since 8th grade, like summer going into high school at the latest. Like, I've had this for a hot minute. So, of course, I was like, I need to read this to see if it's actually good or not. It's taking up space on my shelves. Let's get through it. Now, obviously I give it 3.5 stars. I really, really liked this. Before I get too much into my rating though, let me tell you more about like what it's actually about. So this is a Grumpy Sunshine romance about this woman named Piper Bellinger, and she's like the it girl in Hollywood, 28 years old, which is kind of crazy. But she kind of parties too hard, and so her stepdad is like, okay, I'm gonna cut you off for like summer, and you need to go grow up and be an adult in this town where you were raised, where your dad died, and like you're gonna go be there for and rough it for like 2 months and just like be a human being for a while. And her sister, who tags along, both unwittingly go to this town where our main character Piper, while trying to figure out how to be a human being, a functional human being, meets this man named Brennan, who's like your typical small town fisher boy. That's basically the plot of this book. Now, let me get into the gripes first, because I do have quite a bit, but I want to save the good for last, because I do have a lot of good to say. So, some of the gripes I had about this is that one, our main character is 28 years old. That's crazy, because this bitch is not a functional adult at the beginning of this book. She's not a real person. She's a caricature. And I was really not fucking with her until, like, several chapters later, where towards, like, the middle to the end of the book, she becomes a real human being. So I did really like that. It was just, like, the beginning that was pretty rough. Also, a lot of the smuttier scenes were, like, very... like they cringed me out or made me viscerally react in class, which, mind you, I did listen to like half an hour of this in class because it was crafts. Okay, it's an art class. I was in my own little world and we were making bracelets. Let me listen to what I want to listen to. Okay, it was a low volume, not being weird. I just like was like, I need to get through this before the end of August. But yeah. But yeah, some of the smut scenes were not my favorite. Also, Tessa Bailey does do the typical thing when she's writing from the male perspective of like, oh, I love her so much. She's so beautiful and like kind and good-hearted, and her amazing body. And also she's just the kindest, sweetest soul. And it's like, I don't don't describe this bitch's body to me when you're telling me how much you love her. Like, that feels inauthentic. Don't do it. Also, the third act in general was not my favorite. The third act breakup specifically was very out of character for the characters we had built up. And I do understand that it had to happen for the character arc, and I do, I can forgive it a little bit for that. I do see that it had to happen. But also, I just hate that we had to go out of character for it. I don't know, it was not my favorite way to go about that. But yeah, other than that, I really loved this book. The romance felt pretty healthy and, like, realistic throughout. And of course, this is like a small or big city girl goes to small town, and by the end, it doesn't feel like she's given up her life to live with this guy. It feels very much so like their lives are converging, like a relationship, and not like a Hallmark movie where it's like, ugh, why would I want to be a big city woman in power? I can just come here and bake cookies for the rest of my life. Like, it very much so felt like a convergence of their life. Also, some of the smut scenes were pretty good when they were not horrifically written. They were pretty decent, actually. And also very found family, like, esque. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the small town, everyone here knows each other and we love each other and are here for each other. I love that energy. So yeah, I don't know, 3.5 stars, really liked it, would highly recommend. Not ow, but... Next, we have 2 4-star books. The first one was for the cult reading vlog that also died during filming. The first one, it is The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica. Bitch, listen, she's one of my, like, auto-buy authors. Tender is the Flesh I didn't really fuck with, but her short story collection I gave, like, a 4.5 star last year, like, the year before. Loved it. And The Unworthy is so good. Basically, it's about this, like, dystopian, like, cult world, and you're just kind of following our main character as she is, like, kind of describing her life events in this, like, sisterhood, kind of, that's, like, really weird and really dystopian, and I really fuck with it. Now, here's the thing that people were getting mad about that made me like this book a lot, is people are not fucking with, like, the fact that this book is mostly atmosphere. Like, it's very plotless, it's very, like, you're just kind of following a day-to-day, and you're kind of here for, like, the energy, and then, like, some of the commentary. Like, the social commentary and the atmosphere, that's what I was here for. That's what I was getting out of this. And I think that is why Tender's the Flesh fell so flat for me. I definitely want to do a reread of that now that I've read The Unworthy, because The Unworthy, I immediately felt that this was atmosphere. Meanwhile, Tender's the Flesh, people were hyping it up to be some really crazy, disturbing thing when that is very heavily atmosphere. Like, it's disturbing because of the atmosphere, but it's, like, very vibes over plot, you know? But yeah. I went into this with a very open mind, and I'm very happy because, once again, like, this is just, like, if you want some gothic, creepy as fuck vibes with, like, a very interesting, like, insane world building that's really cool as fuck, would highly recommend this. I really want to, like, reread this several times throughout my life, just for, like, atmosphere, and, like, I really fuck with the story, and I love how it ended. I really love this story. But since I just, like, it just, like, was not a favorite of all time, you know, but I did love it. Like, I loved it, had an amazing time. Also, the social commentary just, like, was not, like, ooh, it just, like, didn't hit for me, so that is why it stays at, like, a 4, because very solid, and I love it, just, like, not, like, a favorite sort of love it, you know? Then, the next 4-star is This One Summer by Julian Tamiki and Mariko Tamiki. this is a banned graphic novel that I picked up very recently, both bought and read very recently. Um, and it basically just follows our main character and her like best friend, um who like they see each other every summer for like 10 days at this like summer cabin place with their families. But basically it's about how these two girls, it's just their summer together, and like them starting to enter like the girl world and like kind of more the adult world, and how the world sees women, and about how these girls start to develop and internalize opinions of those around them. And I really, really loved this. The art is beautiful, and while the story, there's not really any plot going on, just like with The Unworthy, there is still like a very strong story. And this doesn't have a very satisfying ending. There was definitely something from it that I was missing, that I can't say for spoilers, but it was a little too like of like an abrupt, like there's not really a lesson learned moment in this book, which I missed a little bit. I would have liked a little bit of like a ooh at the end, but not a full lesson learned because of what this book is. But yeah, I still really fuck with it. I really like what it did. I think this is something, once again, that I want to reread throughout my life, just because this is such an interesting book, and I really would highly recommend it if you just want some like simple like cabin and just like plotless vibes, you know? Like it's so, this is such a strong book, and it's like such an hour and a half read that like even if you don't like end up fucking with it, like you're not gonna regret it, because this is only an hour and a half of your time, and it packs a punch. I want to watch this as a movie so bad. Then we have two 4.5-star books. So next I have three 4.5-star books. The first one is Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. This was another one for part 2 of the queer horror reading vlog that I also died in filming. But this is a like horror kind of thriller book about this gay man who is writing for a TV show, and he's writing a sapphic love story, but is then told that he has to either kill off his queer characters, or like one of his queer characters, or the relationship cannot be shown, like basically told that if the queer relationship happens, one of them has to die, or it can't happen at all. And he refuses, and shit starts to get crazy, and he starts to get attacked. And he starts to get attacked by his own creations in several horror pieces that he himself has written. This was such a strong horror book, in my opinion, like horror thriller book. I don't remember a lot. However, what I do remember a lot of is the commentary that landed very hard for me, because it is a lot. This book does talk obviously a lot about the bury your gaze trope, and like trying to navigate writing queer storylines, even, you know, in this day and age, and explores that in a lot of nuanced ways as well. And also some of the horrors of AI entering like the film and the writing space, which I really fucked with as well. And it was just a very entertaining book. I really loved seeing the many different creatures that this guy wrote, and how like they interacted with his environment and the stuff around him. And altogether, like, even though this was a pretty slow book, it did take me like a few days to like really, or not a few days, it took me like 50, 100-ish pages to really get into it. But that was just like reading motivation as well at the time. I like devoured this once I got into it. I would highly recommend this. like this, especially if you're also a queer person who loves horror stuff, like please read this. It's so good. Then I read Hell Followed With Us by Andrew. I'll put the fucking name up right here because I totally am blanking on it right now and I don't want to stop recording to go look. But Hell Followed With Us by this guy. And this is a book that I've been trying to read. I've owned my, or not owned, but I've had my friend's copy since freshman year. We're going into senior year now, and I finally got to give it back to her. It's been in like so many TBRs at this point, but yeah. I finally got to that book. It's basically about this, it's about this trans boy who's living in this apocalyptic world where like there's an evil evangelical Christian like cult that's basically taking over the world, and our main character finds solace in like a group shelter for queer kids as they try to defeat this evil cult. I I loved this so much. Our main character was also turned into a biological weapon by this cult as well, which I found to be an extra little like, ooh, our main character who's trans is like going through some body horror shit. Loved that. I found it really interesting and it like added so much to this fucking story. And I just loved it. It's like literally just watching like queer kids come out on top over like the fucked up shit that has been done to them and the people who are trying to actively oppress them. It's just perfect. And like I just loved the like I love so much about this, of like also our main character dealing with the trauma of what happened to him at the hands of this cult, and also just like trying to tackle this new identity in the middle of everything. It's beautiful. I love this fucking story so much. And I believe it is being turned into an animated movie, and I need to go see it the second it comes out because holy shit, I love this book so much. Then our last for the 4.5 star is Brainworms by Alison Rumfitt. This was read in part 1 of the Queer Horror Books reading vlog. If if you're interested in like seeing my live reaction to this book, this actually did like damage me a little bit. This is an extreme horror book about this woman whose workplace was attacked by a TERF, or trans erasure radical feminist. And in the wake of that trauma, she starts to experience really crazy, weird shit. And get into a really volatile relationship with our other main character, Vanya, who is non-binary, and we love non-binary rep. This, first of all, I was not expecting this book to be as, like, freaky as it was, and by freaky, I do mean, like, secretary-esque, of, like, ooh, y'all are freaks, oh my god. And then also, oh, you are a freak. You're a freak. Oh, I'm uncomfortable. Oh, God, what are you doing? Like, that energy. Yeah, this was fucking crazy. This did have, one of my, like, big triggers in it, unfortunately, which is, like, I don't have a lot of things that trigger me in books, which, if you do, please read trigger warnings before reading this. But, like, I have very little that triggers me, but this did have a depiction of a crime. I don't think I can say that term on YouTube, unfortunately, but, like, it had a depiction of that, and that hits really hard for me, so this, like, really fucked me up when I read it. But, like, it's so good, and it's so powerful, and I love the way Alison Rumfitt writes and describes transphobia, especially in the UK, and, like, fascism and such in the UK. Like, her first, I believe her debut novel, which was, I forget it, but I'll put the thing right here. I am totally blanking, but, like, This, as well as Brainworms, were like fantastic, and they explore transphobia in such an interesting way. And while these books may come off a little preachy to some people, I definitely think what they have to say is very important, and it's very like impactful. And also, if especially for Brainworms, please read the author's note at the beginning. I know some people do have a tendency to skip over those, but I feel like it does put this book into a little bit more really important context that made me love this even more. Overall, just a very powerful book, and a very like freaky, like, ooh, I really fuck with this kind of a book. I said this with the first book, and I'm not sure if I agree with it here, but like Alison Rumfitt, I feel like just gets me on like a soul level. Like, she'll put shit in there, and I'm like, oh my god, why are you? Oh, do you know me? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. I just see a lot of my. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but like, I see myself a lot in the characters, the main characters that she writes in these books, maybe. Even then, I don't love that, actually. But anyway, take that as you will. You're not going to take that the right way, and that's fine. But anyway, would highly recommend this. Just please God check trigger warnings. This shit did make me like, huh, like I hit one of the huh, like several times while reading this. Then, last but not least, I have one 5-star book for this summer, which is really rare for me because I actually tend to really easily give books 5 stars. But it was When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This is a new horror book that I listened to on audio, and I really, really, really badly want to own a physical copy of it. But basically, it is about this woman who, like, in the midst of, like, some personal issues, accidentally enters an even worse situation than her own when a little boy shows up in her apartment complex, and then she has to get herself and this boy away from a werewolf that is hunting them. This is a very, very unique and very crazy horror book. In the beginning of this, it has very much so like Maxine vibes in terms of like kind of like 80s slasher, but like in a big setting, which I really fucked with. And also, I just love Nat Cassidy's writing. Especially when I get to hear the author's notes at the end, because it's another situation where the author's notes truly add so much to the story, because Nat Cassidy will explain so much of what he was trying to get across and like why he wrote the book and stuff, and I really, really fuck with it. And I just loved this book because it speaks so much onto daddy issues, which I definitely fucking have, oh boy, but like speaks a lot onto daddy issues and like just anxiety and like growing up and dealing with the terrifying world that is the world while you're growing up. And like, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's a very unique horror book. It definitely took some turns that I was not expecting. Almost like I can't really put a comparison without, I feel like, ruining the surprise, at least that I got going into this. Like, go into this book blind, please, outside of this. Like, I'm being vague on purpose because I really, really do think that I experienced this so well because I went in blind. But, it just got really fucking crazy, and also I did tear up when I was finishing this book, because I was like, no fucking way that this is the direction it went. Oh my god. It is crazy, it is heartbreaking, it is real, it is raw. I love this fucking horror book so much, and I really can't. I only have 2 other Nat Cassidy books that I need to read, those being Nestlings and Rest Stop, and I'm gonna try and read Rest Stop before the end of summer, so stay tuned. Or like before I go back to school and like summer is like over for me in terms of vibes, you know. Anyway, But yeah, I really, really highly recommend this. I really need to get my hands on a physical copy. Like, holy shit, it's such a good book. Oh my god, I could talk about this for hours, but unfortunately, ugh, I can't because of the fucking, like, no spoilers. Because I hate being a bitch who spoils. And also, I can't form cohesive... this may come as a shock to you, I also don't script my fucking videos, so I'm really, like, I'm exhausted, not in the right mindset to be, like, improving shit right now, but yeah, please read this book, it is so fucking good, oh my god. And with that, those are the 10, I feel like that's more than 10, books that I read in the months of June and July. Those are the 10-ish books that I read over summer. Tell me if you've read any of these, what you thought down below, or if you want to read any of these. And also, what did you read this summer? How did the summer go in terms of reading? Thank you so much for loving. Have an amazing night. Love you. Bye!